Everyone, welcome to another episode on Redefining Cooperative. I remain your host, and my name is Barrister Sani Fabian Esquire, or just call me Sani Fabian. So, Redefining Legal Practice, this is the first episode. This is like the third episode of. So, this is like the third episode. So, the first episode we talk about relation parts. We talked about different aspects of law, how you move from corporate compliance, the transferability queue to that kind of the UK for various aspects of country, and then in time bringing seasoned professionals to come and discuss and brief you. Today we have a very target us with one of the partners. I know you have all been hearing about Oriental, you have been hearing about it on LinkedIn, on WhatsApp, on X, on Instagram, you have been hearing about it. So today we are privileged to one of the partners online to explain to us what Less Meter is, and then soon we'll give him stage. So before I bring him up on the stage, I would like to read his bio for you so you know the caliber of thing you are talking to. It's not just a regular lawyer, it's a new week, it's a person that is seasoned in the practice, understands the do's and don'ts of practice, to walk through everything you need to understand about the barrier of signing up and everything that is attached to it. So today we have ourselves Mr. Felix Emmanuel. He's a Nigerian lawyer with nearly a decade of experience spanning commercial dispute resolution, technology, power infrastructure, finance. For those years, he was in Olamini Abuja, it's a one law in Nigeria, where he was some of the continent's most complex transactions. His experience across both contentions and transaction and across multiple sectors gave him clear views facing that practice in Nigeria. That perspective became the catalyst for building tech solution through Ultravilex Technology. Ultravilex Technology Limited, the company behind the famous experimental mark and brand, is driven by the of legal market where students give more for the reality practice. Whereas deeper knowledge and experience and individuals, business can seamlessly access legal service. Through UVCF is developing legal solution designed to citizen security, balance the demand and supply dynamic of the market, simplifying the delivery of legal services. Now bring on Mr. Felix to the stage now. So you have the stage. Thank you, Mr. Felix, and then you have the stage.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And let me share my screen so we can proceed.
Okay.
Just a minute. Hmm. Can you see my screen now? Not yet.
Not yet. It's not.
Okay, let me do that again.
Considering this is the first time you're using this platform, probably why some new feature and all.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Hope it will be possible to cut out all of these places.
It's already live. So except we're going to re-edit the tweet for posting again, but currently there are some persons that are actually watching and then they're way to kickstart. So don't worry, you can take your time. We understand
Yeah.
how it is.
Thank you. this doesn't work, then I have to share it with you to project. Okay, it's loading. It's taking forever to process. Is it live now? Hello, Fabian.
Mr. Felix, sorry, can you hear me now? There was a network interruption.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you see my screen
Okay.
now?
No, I've not been able to see your screen.
Let me share this with you and let you project,
Okay,
please.
yes, I'm seeing your screen. Yes,
Okay,
I'm
you can
seeing your
see it.
screen now.
Okay,
Yes, I can see your screen now.
okay. So let me proceed then.
Yes, yes, please, thank you.
Yeah. So once again, thank you for joining. In the course of this year, for the first 6 months of the year, we're in the 6 months actually, I've been at 5 wireless symposia. And in all of this symposia, a conversation always came up. And that was the conversation around how dissatisfied young lawyers are with the present state of their practice and how underpaid they are, and of course, also how overworked they are. Well, those statistics are not just out of place, they confirm a survey that we did between January and February of this year. Sometime close to the end of last year, we conceived the idea to solve a real problem for lawyers. And it was in January that we did the real survey that revealed the data upon which we have built Lexperiential as a solution to that problem. The survey was a phone call to over 200 lawyers across the 36 states of Nigeria and the FCD. And that call was just about um, the question was, how do you find your practice? Are you satisfied with the state of things as they are? And the survey returned 82% of the respondents said they are not happy with the present state of their practice. Right. So that again confirmed the reason we even set out first to build a solution for that problem. And then again, the experience at the 5 symposia I attended in person further confirmed the need for lawyers to really do something about their career, their legal practice. Now, so the whole idea about lex parentia, which is what we will be discussing as a solution to the problem I've just stated, is moving from a practice that is presently not fulfilling and not profitable to the practice of your dreams, that practice that you aspire to, the practice that is both fulfilling and profitable. And that's why the cover picture says, from this to this is possible, right? To the left, you have a lawyer who is looking very frustrated amidst a lot of files. And this other lawyer by the right is looking obviously happier. And of course, a lawyer cannot be this happy except the practice of that lawyer is obviously more profitable, right? So, l'exponential is the solution to this problem. And beyond the call, right? Since we went public, since we started publicity about l'exponential, everyone we've contacted, both by email, by chat, by call, they keep saying the same thing, that this is a solution they've been waiting for, because a lot of young lawyers feel stuck in litigation only kind of work, right? And I mean, it's very clear. If you are outside of Lagos or Abuja and you aspire to be an expert in any area of law, I don't know how you are supposed to achieve that, because all the solutions presently existing in the market do not are not sufficient, are not efficient or effective in making you an expert in any other area of law aside the big two cities where the top tier law firms are based. Now, let's face the facts, which are the facts that I already gave you, that 82% of Nigerian lawyers reported varying levels of dissatisfaction with their practice. And if you think this figure is not live, maybe the next time you're in the office, just have a conversation with your colleagues. I've been opportune to work in from a tier three law firm to a tier two law firm to a tier one law firm, and I can tell you that the conversation is the same across board. Even for persons that you believe are in these top tier law firms and should feel differently, the conversation seem to be the same across board. But that is why we're here today, to change that narrative and to give you a practice that is both profitable and fulfilling. So yeah, these are the facts. So let's move past that. Now, existing solutions in the market. You remember I told you that, for instance, let's assume you are in Sokoto or you are in Ocean State and you are a lawyer. You don't like the fact that you do only litigation kind of work. You want to become an expert, say, in technology law. The next question is, how do you achieve that? How do you become an expert in technology law if you're in Ocean State where you probably would not work on any tech law engagement for the entire year, right? You're in Sokoto where that is usually not the kind of work you do, and you may never get to work on any tech law mandate for an entire year. So these are the existing solutions in the market today for improving one's practice. But let's go through them one after the other and see if they're effective in delivering the profitable and fulfilling career that we look forward to handing to lawyers. Number one, seminars, symposia, and talks. I'm sure as a lawyer you've attended one seminar, one webinar, one symposium, one talk somewhere, a lecture. We have several of this coming up, once in a while within the legal market, organized by different organizations and focusing on different topics. But our market survey revealed a deficiency with webinars, seminars, symposia, and talks. And that is because they are very infrequent, number one, they are short, number two, they are unstructured, and they are limited because they're very topical. And I'll explain all of this. They're infrequent. Let's say you've taken interest in, say, again, technology law, right? How many technology law specific webinar or seminars have you attended since this year? In fact, how many have you seen, even if you did not attend? So they're very infrequent. You may not have up to 5 webinar or seminar in that area of your choice, of your interest in the whole year. I mean, free webinar or seminar that you can attend, right? You may not have up to five of that happen in a whole year. So they're infrequent. They're not frequent enough. Number two is that they're short. Even when they come up, an average webinar or seminar takes about 1 hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours max. You're done. So, apart from that, they are unstructured. What we mean by that is because these webinars and seminars are put together by different organizations without consulting each other, there's no structure to it. Every organization just discuss the topic that they think is topical or that is relevant for that time in the market, right? So there's no structure to it. Nobody is saying, oh, we've done this before, so let's build upon this by doing this. No, every organization just decide what topic to talk about, what conversation to have without consulting the other organization that you attended their webinar for. They're also very topical, right? Closely linked to being short, being unstructured, and all of that. You don't attend a webinar or seminar where the conversation starts from introduction to that area of law. No, it is usually about, a topic, right? Nobody checks it from the beginning, the fundamentals of that area of law through to the more complex issues in that area. Nobody does that, right? Industry experts just come together, pick a topic that is interesting, and discuss it over 1 hour, 30 minutes, or 2 hours max. So that's why seminar cannot deliver real working knowledge that you need to begin to build expertise in any area of law. Seminars and webinars can't do it. Now, online courses. Again, online courses are the first problem you would have with online courses is that they are usually not Nigerian law focused, right? You can go online now and find a lot of courses on capital markets, a lot of, if you go to, for instance, Coursera, you have a lot of them. Although not one stretch, you have short trainings here and there. But the greater problem with it is that they are not focused on Nigerian law. So if you're looking to become, for instance, an oil and gas lawyer in Nigeria, you're not going to be having conversation about the PIA in those online courses because, they're not discussing Nigerian law. So, but of what real benefit, apart from just understanding concepts, will it be to you if you really want to transform your practice to become an oil and gas lawyer and you're taking these programs that are not based on Nigerian law? Nobody's talking about the PIA. Nobody's talking about the regulators in Nigeria. Nobody's talking about the regulatory landscape in Nigeria that is peculiar. So you find that because the online courses are not focused on Nigerian law, at best, they deliver understanding of major concepts in that area of law, but do not deliver the hands-on experience that you need as a lawyer to immediately transform your practice. Again, online courses are hardly comprehensive. And by that we mean, let's assume that you're a beginner in, say, media and entertainment law, and you want to take online courses in order to build expertise over time. You won't find one online course that starts from introduction to media and entertainment law to the most complex issues in IP, media and entertainment. You'll find scattered courses here and there. You find introduction to patent here. You find introduction to trademarks there. You find discussion on industrial designs there. So you don't have one go-to place where you have a course that starts from the beginning to the end. So again, that is a challenge with online course, right? Then the third one is textbook. We included this because I was in a YLF branch somewhere to speak to young lawyers, and after my conversation with them, a young lawyer said, but what's the difference between this program and a textbook? I said, well, next time if you have an M&A deal, a mergers and acquisition deal, go buy a textbook and read, and let's see if you're able to advise a big company that you're not able to, right? You can't read textbook and advise on a big transaction and expect that your advice will yield the same results with someone who has been practicing that area of law for 13 years, 19 years, 20 years. And the reason is clear, right? Some of these experiences are so specific to transactions that they are not your typical textbook example. Is it, your M&A deals, live M&A deals will not be the textbook examples of M&A. There will always be these peculiar nuanced situations that you really need that practice to be able to understand what's happening and advise properly. So textbook does not kill it. And again, textbooks are, majorly written by academics. So academics are right from the academic angle of things. A lot of them are not in practice, so you don't expect to find a lot of practical stuff from them. So yeah, the present solution in the market does not kill it. So what does? That is why we build Lexperiential. Now, when we were building Lexperiential, we were putting together the future of Lexperiential. We thought to ourselves, what can we do? What are the features that Lexperiential needs to have to distinguish it from every solution that exists in the market, for which we have said are not efficient in delivering real expertise in any specialized area of law? We decided to build in 6 features in Lexperiential that differentiates it from every solution that you find presently in the market. Number 1 is the duration of our program. I told you before that it is not possible to become an expert in any area of law by attending a short webinar, even if you attend 12 of those in a year, right? So you can't become an expert by doing that. Also, there are, once in a while, this short training program that'll be for like 3 days, 1 week. Again, those cannot deliver real working knowledge in any area of law that you can immediately deploy to transform your practice. So we made Lexperiential a 6 months training. 6 months of training in just one area of law. We will explain how Lexperiential works, but here is the number 1 distinguishing factor. Unlike seminars, symposia, talks, short trainings, it is going to be for 6 months straight. So we're asking every lawyer who is signing up to Lexperiential to give us 6 months of their practice life so that we can partner with them to transform the way their practice presently operates and what revenue they generate from such practice. So 6 months of training in just one area of law. You won't pick more than one, just one for 6 months. Number 2 is the structure that we built into Lexperiential. I told you that present solutions in the market are not structured. They're not structured. You can't find in one place a solution that takes you as a beginner in any specialized area of law to the most complex issues in that area of law. You can't find that in one structured program. So we decided to build in that structure into Lexperiential. And this structure reflects in what we have put together on the Lexperiential platform. If you go to Lexperiential platform, which is www.lexperiential.com, you will navigate to the lawyers career acceleration program, and you see how structured the outlines for all of the 6 courses we have onboarded are. For every course, you have introduction to that course. Then the next module is building upon introduction. The next module after that is building upon the second module. So it's a step-by-step structured program that leads you from the simplest to the most complex in that area of law. And that is the structure you can't find elsewhere. So Lexperiential is structured in that way. You can take a look again at the outlines available on our platform. Closely related to structure is completeness, which is the third feature of Lexperiential that differentiates it. Lexperiential is so complete in the sense that you don't have to get a knowledge share and leave the platform to get something else somewhere in order to make that knowledge complete. We are presenting to you on one platform, in one place, complete hands-on experience, working knowledge that you will need to transform your practice as a lawyer that is a beginner in the area of law that you have chosen. So again, the outline demonstrate this completeness by, of course, showing you clearly how you would progress from the rudiments in that area of law to the most complex issues. Another feature that distinguishes experiential is its practicability. We have decided to make experiential a training program that is not just a lot of echo. Will mute yourself. That will end, I guess. All right. Okay. So we have distinguished experiential from every other solution by making it practical training. So the way experiential is going to work is, imagine a more senior lawyer, a more experienced lawyer in an aspect of law, working with you on transactions in that area for you to gain the experience that you need. The setting is not going to be like the university setting where you had lecturer talk to you for 1 hour and then you go back home to prepare for an exam. No, it's the entire idea about the program is to focus on how to do it as opposed to what it is, right? So you're a lawyer, you know what contracts are, you know the elements of a valid contract, you know all of that. So we are not bringing you into a class for a facilitator to be telling you what is, but rather the approach is how it is done, because we know that lawyers are looking for practical knowledge to immediately deploy in transforming their career, and not academic knowledge for which I mean they'll brag or sit for one exam to pass. So the approach is completely practical. You will also be given live simulated examples to play around with, right? So live transaction scenario will be simulated, and you will be required to play with them, provide solutions and all of that, just so that we make the program very practical and impactful. The next one is the kind of facilitators we have put together. I once attended a very well publicized webinar. Yeah, I don't know, I mean, how it happened, but we got to this webinar, and the person that was supposed to facilitate this program was a serving core member. That is a first year lawyer that was supposed to facilitate the webinar. And I was taken aback a bit. And throughout the program, it appeared that I knew more about that area of law than the person who was facilitating the program. So we have decided as L'experiential to distinguish the experiential training program by carefully selecting our facilitators. We unveiled our facilitators to the persons that are in our WhatsApp community already this morning. And I mean, I could see the expression. People even sliding into my DM to say, how were you guys able to put this kind of people together? We were careful in selecting only people who are working for top tier law firms and multinational organizations. People who have proven themselves over the years in the area of law in which they are facilitating. So we are not just talking about some, new chaps. We're talking about people with years, quality years of experience that would tell you, provide very useful, practical approach solution to how market problems are dealt with, how transactions are structured, how contracts are drafted, how they're negotiated, what to do all through the phases of contracting. And finally, the last feature that we built into L'experiential to distinguish it from existing solutions is discipline and flexibility. We had to look for that golden middle between discipline and flexibility. And let me explain. Discipline. We did not want L'experiential to be like every other program, all those online courses that are self-paced, right? It is so good a thing to hear. This program is self-paced, so I do it at my time. I do it when I have the time, when I'm relaxed. But almost every lawyer you ask started one online program and did not finish it. And the reason is it's self-paced. You're not compelled by any schedule. So you do it at your time. Of course, the first week you approach it with so much enthusiasm, right? Then after the first week, the enthusiasm dies down. Second week, you do it again, and then third week, the whole program is abandoned. We decided to make experiential classes live. By live, I mean you will come live to class during schedule. Of course, the class is going to be virtual, but there will be a scheduled time when you come for class, and the facilitator is speaking to you real time, such that you can pause, ask questions, the facilitator provides answers, and the class continues. So it is not self-paced. We decided to build in that discipline. The flexibility part of it is that we knew that, okay, because this program is going to be live classes, fixed live classes, then we must build in features that we allow lawyers to do their work and for this not to disrupt their work schedule. So what did we do? We fixed our live virtual classes for only Saturdays. So you can do your work from Mondays to Fridays, and then on Saturdays by 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., you attend experiential live class. And then after the class, of course, like I mentioned before, you're giving some practical things, to try your hands on during the week, and then you meet again on Saturdays, on the next Saturday, so that you have time to provide your legal services to your client. So these are the strong six clear ways in which we differentiated Lex Brancho from every other solution that exists in the market. Right. So now the question we've been receiving from a lot of lawyers as we talk to them about Lex Brancho is, oh, good idea. Training for 6 months. That's going to be a lot of time, a lot of knowledge, a lot of real knowledge. What do I use the knowledge for? And one lawyer asked me from Jalingo, I say, I'm in Jalingo. What do I need the knowledge in all of these areas of law you're talking about for? And I said, well, you don't get to know what to do with a tool until you know how to use the tool. Right. You can't possibly know what to do with knowledge in technology, fintech, and AI until you know what it's about. But beyond that opening response, we decided, top of our heads, to sit down and put together, just demonstrate to you what you can use your knowledge in the 6 areas of law that we have onboarded for. Number one, we have onboarded, sorry. Number one, we have onboarded technology, fintech, and AI. And again, I was having a conversation with the YLF chair of Ado Ekiti. He was interested in technology, fintech, and AI, and he asked me the same question. But after this training, what do I use this knowledge for? And I asked him, are you aware of at least one person that is living in Ado Ekiti and is working for some tech company either in the United States or UK? And he said, yeah, he knows quite a number of them. I said, and why can't that be you? Right. Because I know in this Lagos, how many lawyers have left top tier law firms and are now working fully remotely for tech companies that are not in Nigeria. So they're just doing their compliance role, doing those other roles, in those tech companies. And the money they're earning, when they convert it to Nigerian Naira, they're living larger than you are. Again, I asked the same person, I said, okay, let's even remove foreign companies. Let's come back home. Every time you sleep and wake up, one fintech has incorporated somewhere in Nigeria, right? They call them all sorts of names. They're payment solutions. They provide payment solution infrastructure. A lot of fintechs these days. And in the past 1 year, I know in person 6 lawyers that have left very good law firms to go in-house to fintechs. They're working for fintechs. And as you know, a lot of these fintechs have money, right? Because, they have money and they pay well. So again, I asked, why can't you think about building a career in fintech? What about AI? We know, the disruption that AI is already causing, and it would be such a good thing for a lawyer to know what the laws are, the laws that regulates that environment are. So that's for technology, fintech, and AI. Now, IP media and entertainment. Again, I was having the conversation with the YLF branch in my state, Taraba Jalingo, and I told the lawyers there that you may not know what to do with IP media and entertainment now, but let me give you an instance. Social media has so democratized um, entertainment and media these days, such that almost every state you go to, every local government you go to now, you have somebody that is a TikTok influencer or a YouTuber or a Facebook influencer, or the person is a content creator. You know, people. There are several. Kinds of entertainment going on these days. Just go to your TikTok and see. And I asked the question. I illustrated with one, this up and coming rapper that's in Jalingo. With the way that guy is going, I told them it will need the devil to come down physically to stop that guy from blowing in the way we use the term in Nigeria. That guy is certainly going to blow. And I asked the young lawyers there, who amongst you is already talking to this guy? Obviously, you know this guy is going to blow. He's beginning to be invited to, stages that you wouldn't expect that a rapper from Taraba would ever get to. The guy is going big, and no lawyer is going close to say, guy, within the bounds of legal practice. So I'm not saying anybody should go and be chasing after people, but we know the way we do it without offending the rules, right? So somebody needs to be talking to these kind of people, because immediately they blow and come to Lagos, they will go and hire the Olaniwa Ajayi of this world, which is a good thing. But if you are in a locality where these persons are growing up, it will be wise of you to stand yourself out for them to quickly notice that this is an entertainment lawyer that I can go to for him to guide me as I grow. In my career, right? Energy, power, and infrastructure. Sorry, energy, which encompasses oil and gas and power. Right. Yeah, it's true. You may not have the big oil and gas companies in your state where you are, if you right. So if you're not in Lagos or Port Harcourt or those outside places where the big companies are, oil and gas companies are. But again, I told lawyers in some states, I say, with the decentralization of the a lot of states have passed the electricity law and established the electricity market. What's happening is that a lot of business are already moving to the state electricity market. And as you are aware, or you may be aware, it is required that immediately states pass their state electricity law and establish their state electricity market. The present distribution companies, which are the successor distributors, are supposed to incorporate different companies in those states. So businesses are coming to those states. There will be, a lot of companies will come in because the state now is in control of generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity. So you expect many more companies to come into the state electricity market. Apart from that, I'm sure you've seen the increase in renewable energy source of electricity. Everywhere you go to now, solar energy. There's this solar energy company here. There's this company that is producing batteries here and there. So all of these companies are going to increase in the states. So they've brought a market very close to you. But as a lawyer, you can only play in that market if you are properly trained and have the working knowledge to deploy in that market, right? For corporate and commercial, nobody needs explanation for this. Businesses happen everywhere, right? But as I told some young lawyers in a meeting, when we talk about corporate and commercial, people just think about CAC registration. That is what people are doing these days. Even non-lawyers do CAC registration. So you need to think beyond that. That is why we intentionally added compliance to this course. It is corporate, commercial, and compliance. Right. Somebody needs to be advising these businesses, all these unstructured businesses in Aba, Onitsha, Kano, Enugu, and several other big markets that we have everywhere, where people are doing businesses that pull in, a lot of revenue in hundreds, for some of them hundreds of millions in a year in revenue. But The businesses are so unstructured. They don't know anything about corporate governance. They don't do so. You need to stand yourself out if you're in those kind of jurisdictions, right? So that you'll be able to harness that market. Banking, finance, and capital markets. There's almost no local government in Nigeria today where you don't have a branch of a commercial bank. And the only time the branches of those commercial bank engage lawyers in those jurisdictions is when they have disputes. But disputes is not the only thing banks do. They do transactions every day. So why is it that they only remember lawyers in that jurisdiction when it is dispute? It is because they don't think that any lawyer in that jurisdiction has real transaction experience in the business that they do. No lawyer has stand themselves out in that area of law. So they only come to you when somebody has made wrong transfer of 500,000 naira, and then you begin to go to get order to, all of those things. But these guys do other transactions every day for which you don't know, and for which other lawyers in other jurisdictions are advising them. All right, mergers and acquisition. Yeah, I mean, you may say this is the one that you can hardly find happening in any state, and I agree with you. But again, um, you will see why I included this thing in red. If you really want to transform your law practice, why is it that you think you must remain in your present jurisdiction um, to do that transformation? Why can't you aspire to the places where you can do other transactions if that's a possibility for you? I didn't start my law practice in Lagos. I started in Ado Ekiti as a youth copper. After my youth service year, again, I made an attempt to come to Lagos. It didn't work. I went to Enugu and started practicing in another law firm in Enugu for 2 years before I ultimately broke into Olaniwa Ajayi in 2021. So I just say this to say, if your interest is in mergers and acquisition, it's not happening in your jurisdiction, and you really want to, become an expert in that area, attend the program, get trained, begin to make moves that will take you out of your present jurisdiction to where you can apply this practice for yourself. Now, they say nothing is free, yeah, not even in Freetown. Um, I guess maybe that's why they are now the South Africans are chasing people out of their country. But I mean, that's on a light note. Yeah. So we have put together this kind of program that is a true solution to the problem that young lawyers are facing. Is it for free? We couldn't do it for free. We tried to, but we couldn't. Right. So what we have done instead is to make the program so affordable that any young lawyer anywhere should be able to afford the program. And when we were working, I remember the early morning we were discussing the cost of this program. That's the board of the company. It was around 3 a.m. A lot of back and forth, what should we use? What should we use as the benchmark and all of that? And then we decided to say, let us do a survey. And again, we went back to calling young lawyers. This time, we decided to call lawyers in the most remotest locations. We know that an average lawyer in Lagos here may be doing better, right, than their counterparts, say in Lafia and all of those other places on an average. I'm not saying that's a general rule. So we decided to call lawyers in very far-flung jurisdictions to ask them, if you were to attend a program that promises all of these things we have said, how much do you think you will comfortably pay for such a program? We received a lot of responses, and on an average, that is adding all the responses we got and dividing it by the number of responses we got, the number we got was 140,000. But we sat back and we told ourselves, is this actually realistic, or people are just making very optimistic statements? And we decided to say, no, let's put the cost of this program at 62,000 naira, hoping that this 62,000 naira will trigger scale, right? Because if we have enough young players sign up for the program, we will be able to run the platform that we built. We will be able to do every other thing else that you can imagine is necessary for a program of this sort. right? So the program cost is for 62,000 naira. And to even make it more affordable, because when we said 62,000 naira, then one member of the board said, let's imagine a youth core member that is savvy. And I think they take home 77,000 naira now. I'm not sure about that, but around that figure. And they said it would be hard for us to say, give us 62,000 naira at a go. So what did we do? We then built in the option of saying, okay, you either pay this money as a lump sum, or you can pay the 62,000 naira over the course of 6 months, duration of the program. So to sign up and fully enroll for this program, all that you need to do is to sign up and pay one installment, and you're fully enrolled for the program to start. So your next installment will be due 1 month into the training. So that is how affordable we've made everything, so that the cost of the program does not hold anybody back. Now, just to recap, the most important features of the program, we've mentioned that our classes will be live and they will hold every Saturdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We've mentioned that our approach to this is very practical, and the focus is on how it is done as opposed to what it is. We have also, okay, this is the session, this is the feature that I did not discuss, number 3, which is very important, career sessions. Again, we built into this program something that is special that you won't find in any other existing solutions in the market. We said for the 6 month duration, we'll be bombarding people with technical working knowledge in special areas of law. We need to also incorporate career sessions that we teach people practically how to use this knowledge. Because if we train 5,000 lawyers in these special areas of law, I mean, let's be sincere to ourselves. We can't all guarantee that these 5,000 lawyers will make it to the top tier law firms, right? So, what else can they do with this knowledge? That's why we created 3 career sessions that we feature during the 6 months duration of this program. One would be on how young lawyers can set up successful law practice. And we're inviting people who are considered quite young in the profession, and they've set up practices that, man, you look at it and you can't just understand how they were able to achieve this. Those are the kind of people we're bringing to teach young lawyers that you may be 5 years at the bar now, but nothing stops you from saying, okay, I'm 5 years. I have 2 other friends who are also 5 years at the bar. Let us attend this program. You attend banking, finance, and capital markets. I will attend IP, media, and entertainment. This other person attend technology, fintech, and AI. And let's give ourselves 2 years so that when we are all 7 years at the bar, we come together and form a partnership. Right? We form a partnership at 7 years at the bar, and that partnership will be strong because we have built expertise in 3 strong areas of law that we can immediately deploy. And then we add our dispute practice, which is almost the common denominator with every lawyer. I mean, you should know a bit of dispute. That's what law school taught us. So that is what we are looking at. And not just everybody, okay, I want to get into the top tier law firms. The top tier law firms can't absorb 5,000 lawyers every year, right? So we're also bringing in in-house lawyers to also give practical tips on how lawyers can be positioning themselves to get into in-house roles in fintechs and property companies and in oil and gas companies and all of those other companies, right? So of course, there'll also be a certificate that will be issued at the end of the program. That certificate will be issued to you if you attend minimum of 70% of our live classes, because we want this program to really be effective. That's why we said from the beginning that we have made the duration this long for you to focus on one thing for 6 months. So, to be entitled to our certificates, we have built into the Lexperiential platform an automatic attendance tracking. All our classes are going to happen on the Lexperiential platform. It's not Zoom or Google Meet or anything. We have built a dedicated platform for the classes. That's the platform on which you sign up, you pay, you attend classes, and you download your certificate immediately after the program. So everything on Lexperiential is done on the platform, and you can visit the platform today on www.lexperiential.com. So as you attend classes, the platform is already programmed to track your attendance. And if you don't meet up to 70% attendance, we may need to have a conversation with you because we don't believe that you have met the minimum requirement to be entitled to a certificate. Thank you so much for listening to me. If you have any question, this is the time for me to take your question and we'll provide answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Felix, for that beautiful presentation. I was astounded during the entire presentation. I had some questions written up. I was thinking maybe the audience would ask some one or two questions, but during the session, you are able to clarify some of those questions. But I have a particular one I'm not sure you touched on. So let me just go straight to the point. If in a situation where somebody, a young lawyer, has already paid for acquisition, merger and acquisition, and then along the line he wants to pivot, maybe after a month or a month he feels like, okay, no, I feel like I should be doing commercial corporate compliance and all. How is it like obtainable, or is it possible?
Um, Presently, it is not possible. The way we have structured the platform is not possible. And let me explain to you. You see, that is why we have put up detailed outlines on the platform for you to go through before you make a choice, right?
Before you
We
make a
don't want you
choice?
to make blind choices. So if you go on the platform now, even without signing up, there's a feature of the platform that says explore our programs. We want you to look at the course outline. Take your time, look at the course outline for all the courses and be certain about the one you want to pick. And let me tell you why we don't want to allow you to switch in between the programs. Let's assume you started mergers and acquisition, as you said, and after a month, you now want to jump to corporate commercial and compliance. Remember
Yeah.
that one key factor of this program is that we want things to be structured. So if you're jumping now to corporate
Yeah.
and commercial, you must have missed a whole month or 2 months of classes. And you're now coming in maybe the third month, you don't have the background knowledge upon which they are building. So we don't want things to be done in that scattered way. We really want focus on one thing for 6 months. But let me quickly add to that something, a concern that persons have been raising since we went public. A lot of persons have written to us to say they have some time in their hands. One particular person said, I am presently not employed and I have the capacity because I have the whole weekdays to myself. I have the capacity to do more than one program. You remember when we built Experiential, we made it impossible for anybody to do more than one course because we believed that, see, we need you to focus on one thing for 6 months so that you can have that working knowledge in that area of law. But after several requests from people who say, I have a lot of time, I'm not working now, I'm out of employment, so I have the whole weekdays to myself, we decided to build one feature into the program. And we're still building that feature. So if you go on the Experiential platform now, you won't see it. This is how that feature is going to work. You will be able to do more than one program, maximum of two. And the way it is going to work is that you will sign up for two different programs. Immediately after the class for every course that you attend, whether you're doing one or two, immediately after the class, you have the video recording of that class immediately available to you on your dashboard. You can go back and watch that video. So we said, okay, if you have a lot of time and you can do two programs, this is how it's going to work. You will attend live class for course A today and watch the video for course B because that video is going to immediately be available on your dashboard after the class. And then the week coming, you switch, you attend live class here and watch the video for this one. Because we want you to really have that live class interaction. We don't want you to sign up for a course and just watch videos for 6 months without having interaction with your facilitators. So we're building that feature, but it will strictly be for people who confirm to us that they have a lot of time and they can commit to doing two program max. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that beautiful explanation. So I had another person who reached out to me, and I think the person was either Kenya or Ghana, and her complaint was that she's looking to take the New York bar, but she wants to specialize, and then she doesn't know how it is possible for her to commute. Like she's not in Lagos, and then she wants to know. So I told her that this thing, but I want you to like explain better so that people that are from other countries that want to participate in this thing could understand how it will help them or how they can be able to participate, considering they are not in Lagos. If it is
Absolutely. Already we have participants who have signed up to this program from other countries of the world. In fact, just 2 days ago, I was having a conversation with a lawyer in Cameroon who are signed up for the program. But this is what we explain to every lawyer signing up outside of Nigeria. Number one, the program is entirely virtual. So there's no commuting. Even if you're in Lagos, you're in Abuja, or even if you're next door neighbor to the person facilitating the course of your choice, you don't need to go to their house. You just need to be on your decks, just as we are now, and having live an interactive session as we are having now. Now, but there's one thing we make clear to lawyers outside of the country who are signing up, and I think it is good, right, to tell people everything and then have them make informed decision than to just conceal some things and then they find out later. I told the lawyer in Cameroon that I was having conversation with, I said, this program is going to be Nigerian law focused. Are you happy with that? Are you fine with that? And he said, yes, he's fine with it. And he's signing up for technology, fintech, and AI. So I agreed with him when he explained to me that largely Nigerian law, of course, would come in. But of course, when you're discussing data protection, you'll discuss Nigerian Data Protection Act, but certainly GDPR is going to, of course, form a very main part of what you're discussing, right? Technology contracts, the kind of contracts that you draft in the technology sector, it's it's not specific to Nigeria. Nigerian law would play specific parts in some few clauses, but more than 90% of that contract has nothing to do with Nigerian law. So the lawyer said, I'm fine. I want to sign up. I'm from Cameroon. And she has signed up. So, yeah, you can sign up from every part of the world. That's fine. Hello, Fabian. Um, since his network is having problem, he's dropped. Okay, let's know if anybody else has any question, please. We're happy to take any question at this time if you have one.
Sorry about that breaking network. Sorry about the breaking network. I've understand the entire clarification you have given, and then thank you for that beautiful presentation. And then if there is any more question, I've not seen any question in the comment section, so I would assume nobody has any question. And then feel free to reach out to either me or Mr. Felix here on either on our WhatsApp group with Finding Law Practice or Lawyers Waitlist for Experimental. So you get any clarification you need and then endeavor to go and sign up and secure a slot. Thank you so much, Mr. Felix, and
Thank
thank you
you.
for honoring the invitation. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for this interaction. I'm grateful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mr. George, thank you for waiting for us. Good afternoon, and thank you for being here, one of our distinguished guests for today. Good afternoon, Mr. George.
Good
Can you
afternoon,
hear me?
Fabian. Can you hear me
Yes, good
okay?
afternoon. Okay, that's good. It's good to see you in person also, in virtual also. So
Thank you.
without
Good to see
further
you.
without further ado, let's proceed second speaker for today. And this is the section that I am very, very sure that if you are a young lawyer, if you're a long lawyer, either you are looking to go to Canada, UA, US, Mr. Kudayo George has gone everywhere. So let me say he has gone everywhere. He's not just only a lawyer, he's more than a lawyer. So let me read out his bio before we proceed so you know the person that is coming to talk to you about a lot of things. So please give me a second. Mr. Kudayo George is an international lawyer, a writer with multi-sector legal experience spanning Canada, the United States. He grew up living and traveling across America, Europe, Africa, and speaks Yoruba, English, French, German, and Spanish at different levels. He began his career at New Jersey law firm focused on litigation and public municipal finance, later founding his own
Okay,
and,
Fabian, your
and
hands.
yes,
Okay.
yes, sorry. There was a breaking connection there. He also served in government role as an expert advisory for federal public pension and a program investigator for the employment insurance program. If I want to read all Mr. Ekodayo's qualification and biography, I'm sure we'll finish the entire 1 hour. I keep looking because he has gone everywhere and he has practiced almost through the world. So, but the most important thing is that he's here with us today. He has representing aspect of government, different aspect of the country. So, Mr. Kudayo, let's give you the stage. Let you throw more light on us. Just teach us, tell us about your experience, what it's been like practicing in the UK, practicing in Canada, practicing in New York, practicing around the world, if I may add. Please, you have the stage.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Fabian. Thank you for having me. Good
You're
afternoon,
welcome.
everyone. I'm here in Canada. It's now 9:30 a.m. on a Saturday. I'll try to stay clear-eyed due to lack of sleep. This is the world we live in now. Everybody's in a different time zone, and we have to coordinate ourselves accordingly. Yeah. So let me start first with legal education, carrying on from what the previous guest was talking about, because I went to law school in the States. It's the College of William and Mary in Virginia, William and Mary Law School. We are actually older than Harvard, and we'll say we are better too, but they feel bad when we say that. It's true that we're better, but they feel bad when we say that, so we leave them to it. So I went there in 97 to 2000, graduated in 2000, got my JD. And at the time I joined, they had something called the Legal Skills Program, which was 88, started in 1988, so it was about 9 years old. That is incorporating some practical skills, the kind of skills the former guest was talking about, in the education program. So they divide each class into virtual firms of about 12 to 15 people. A member of faculty is the senior partner, and the upper year student is the junior partner. And you go through, then they have fictitious jurisdictions, right? They make up jurisdictions, and then they take the laws of a particular state for that jurisdiction, and that is where you practice. You practice in that state virtually. So you do things like interviewing, client counseling, writing memorandum. You do draft documents for sale and purchase of property, you know, sale and purchase of assets, and you learn things about office management, how to bill your time, how to charge the clients, all those kinds of things. Now, in the United States and Canada, it's not like Nigeria because each state is a different jurisdiction. So if you write the bar and you practice state by state. So once you write the bar of one state, that's where you practice, or you choose which state you want to practice in, and then you go and write that bar, study for and write that bar. If you want to practice in multiple states, you need to write multiple bars. Or if you've been practicing for some time, there are a couple of options. You can either waive in, which means you have the knowledge and experience that they'll allow you to become a member of that bar without writing, or there's something called pro hac vice, which means for each occasion or for this occasion. So you partner with a local council licensed in that state for that particular action. This is, for example, when you're working for a company in one state and they have a litigation in another state, and so you have to find locally admitted counsel to be the lead, the lead for you on that case, and then you'll be in the background giving them the policy points and etc., etc., and of course arranging their payment. So legal skills was very, very helpful, and the former guest was talking about moving from state to state. Of course, it's a little bit harder out here, as I said, but when you have a country where it's more uniform, it's easier. So you really need to take, that's an advantage in Nigeria actually, because you don't need anything more than the specialized knowledge in that practice area to be able to carry it and set up shop in another state, on the other side of the country, which is very, very helpful. So having the New Jersey bar, the New York bar, the neighboring states. So I started working in the New Jersey firm. There, I done my summer there, so I was hired back, which was fortunate. I started working there. Well, I had one office in southern New Jersey, Burlington County, and they had another office in Trenton, which was the state capital. That's where the big boys were. They're the ones who counsel to the state senates and always, walking across the street, having meetings with the senators, with the governor, all that kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun working there. And did you want me to continue on that, or Fabian? Let me back up and talk about the pre-law or the qualification for law, because in Nigeria, I believe that law school is the first degree, right?
Yes, law school is the first degree. Unlike the, sorry for cutting you, please. Like if somebody is looking to go to a foreign country, maybe either Canada, New York, what would be advice for young lawyers looking to mark his territory outside Nigeria? So where would you like point the person from your wealth of experience?
Okay.
So where would you like point? Yes.
So in Nigeria, the law school is the first degree. So you do that and then you go for the bar. Or is that right?
That's okay. Right. That's right.
In other countries, well, let me speak for the US and Canada, which I know. In the US and Canada, is actually a graduate degree. So you have to have another degree first before you go to law school. Okay? And law school is 2 years, a 3-year program. Generally, I say generally because there's the Canadian distinction. In Canada, we have 2 legal regimes. We have the common law, which is all of English Canada. And then we have civil law, which is exclusive to Quebec, which is the French-speaking part of Canada. And the civil law comes from Napoleonic Code, which of course was French. So you can choose to study the common law and work outside Quebec. Again, that's the state by state thing, or provinces in Canada. or you can choose to study the civil law and work inside Quebec, or you can do both. And then law school becomes a 4-year thing as opposed to a 3-year thing. Okay. So it's after law school that you now study for and write the bar. Okay. So now, regarding qualification as a foreign lawyer, you'd have to double check the current requirements because I haven't looked at them recently. But from what I recall, in Canada, if you are a foreign qualified lawyer and you want to practice in Canada, again, you will choose your province because it's a province by province, state by state licensing, right? And you'll first have to have your credentials assessed by the National Committee on Accreditations. That's put together by the Federation of Law Societies of Canada. So they look at your education, your legal education, your work experience, any publications you've made, and they assess it all together, and they tell you which courses you need to study and how many of them in order to get the credits that would bring you up to the equivalency of a local graduate from law school, right? That's a certificate of qualification is what you get.
So, Mr. Ekudayo, so if, for example, you have set up your practice around maybe Canada and New York, and then you're advising a young lawyer who is trying to set up his own practice in maybe Canada or New York, what are the recommendations? What would you tell the young lawyer? Because there are a lot of young lawyers traveling from Nigeria to Canada, some of them the New York, and then they are trying to find their footing. So I best believe it will be very beneficial for them to understand how you went ahead to set up your practice and what they should know.
Sure, definitely. I'll just finish up. I'll just go ahead and because in Canada you have to go through that National Committee on Accreditation. But if you want to practice in the US, there are two options. There are about 5 states where you can get a similar kind of assessment and then write the bar once you are assessed as qualified. Those are, I believe, New York, Alabama, California, New Hampshire, and Virginia. But in all other states, I believe you have to have a law degree from a US school before you can write the bar in that state. So the way a lot of people get around that is they just quickly do a master's. That gives them the LLM, which is a law degree from a US school, and then they can study.
Okay, the LLM gives them the edge.
Yeah.
So you recently published a book on, we have been seeing it everywhere on Punch, on Guardian, on LinkedIn, on Twitter. We have been seeing about it everywhere, success in business, your blueprinted insights. We want you to talk about the book. Is it from the wealth of experience you have acquired, and then how are you also a good writer and a lawyer? Do you speak to your audience the way you write judgment, the way you write legal opinion? Please walk us through the writing of Success in Business, your blueprinted inside. Yes, I think I saw the book. It was a very beautiful read. I want you to understand because it talks more about how to build a business, how to practice. Did you get that experience being a lawyer, or those ones came from different places?
Thank you, Fabian. I have a very varied experience when it comes to work. I wasn't born a lawyer. There were some things I did before law. So let me give you some examples. So my parents are diplomats. They're retired diplomats now. So which means we were traveling a lot. At one point, while they were in Angola, in the middle of its civil war, I was actually going to boarding school in the UK. Okay. So back in those days, travel, travel, and let me just say, regulations were a little bit looser, right? So if you were traveling as a child, even as a child, you could buy things in the duty free shop and nobody would ask twice, right? Like maybe somebody sent you whatever, whether it was liquor, cigarettes, anything like that. So, you know, I used to travel as an unaccompanied minor in the care of the air crew. So what I would do is I would pack an extra suitcase, an empty one, pick up some things in the duty free on the way to school, and then I would sell them to my course mates. So then with that money, I would start making loans on campus to my classmates because campus was at least a kilometer from town. There were no trips to the bank every day, no tap to pay, nothing like that. So that's how I came into import exports and banking at a very early age. Then in college, of course, there was the party promotion business. I saw other people doing it. I saw how they could, you know, do very well at it. So I got into it. You know, you rent a hall, you get the liquor license, you negotiate with the bar, you get the staff, you get to put the flyer together, you arrange the promotion, and then you bring the people in and charge at the door, of course. So with that, I was able to pay school fees for myself, for my siblings, pay the household bills. So, you know, we were doing pretty well at that kind of thing. So when it comes to knowing the steps to go through, if you need to start a business, what you need to think about, where you need to look, you know, it's for me, it's more natural, right? Because I've been there, I've done it. I also worked in call centers, incoming call center, outgoing call center, door to door sales, all these hustles you do to get through university. Because what happened was at one point, with all the coups in Nigeria, at one point there was a coup, and they told my father, "Oh yeah, come home and be part of the puppet government." And he said, "That's really not my goal in life." So I say no. They said, "Okay, come or we retire you." He said, "It's okay. I retire. Hold everything you want to hold. I'm not coming." So that's how he now left the government and how we were left with suddenly needing to find urgent sources of cash in order to support ourselves. So the party business was quite fortuitous at that time. When you need to hustle in order to survive, you go hustle, you go hustle. So, and I've advised startups, I've advised mature businesses, I've represented clients in litigation, in court, uh, different types of law. I try not to do criminal because people have different types of criminal that they do, and you know, depending on your content, whether you want to help somebody get off on something, some ridiculous charge.
So, so you can also generalize and specialize. Is it that you also generalize and specialize in Canada as a lawyer? You can decide to generalize, and then even if you are a contract lawyer, then you can also go into criminal law, or you have to pick a particular niche and stick to it, a particular aspect of law.
You can be general, or you can be specialized. One thing where the Canadians are ahead is something called legal aid. Okay. So the government will provide you with representation if your income is below a certain level. and you have a matter that is involving criminal or family or child protection. So there are lawyers that specialize in those areas, and they're not, you know, chasing after people for fees because the government pays them at a specific rate. But you can't go overboard in your billing. They have standards and guidelines that will guide you. But if you want to specialize in a different area, then unless you have that experience yourself, you really need to partner with somebody or work under somebody who knows that area, because it is a requirement in the ethical code for lawyers that if you don't know the area, or if you're new to the area, you need to partner with somebody who knows, so you don't mess up.
That seems very plausible. So, unlike Nigeria, we can decide to bill our clients, although there is a rule of professional conduct we have to follow for other persons, and you know the way Nigeria system works. We decide to bill our clients for we give fees. Cannot bill everybody on the same basis and on the same. But thank you for that beautiful introduction. So, Mr. George, you have not talked about success in business. You just told us about where you have worked and what is the book all about. Is it teaching us how to be a better businessman? Is it teaching us how to establish our businesses as a lawyer, even as a lawyer, or just break it down for us, please? Thank you.
Okay. So success in business started as a 5-volume series. It's actually now 6 volumes. I wrote a 6th one, but we'll come to that. So the idea is to guide people through the 5 main stages of a healthy and successful business, which are starting, scaling, situations, sailing, and sustaining. Starting, of course, is the startup. How do you create the business? How do you set it up? How do you fund it? How do you engage in marketing? But the critical steps are what everything you need to do before you even get to the business plan, right? You need to look at the market. You need to look at your capabilities. You need to look at the demand. You need to look at what is sustainable. You need to look at what you need, what you will need in the business, whether that is funding or materials or other services. There are many things you need to do that people don't always go through. So that's why they run into surprises and hiccups and bottlenecks, right? So that's starting. Scaling can mean many different things, but in my 2nd volume, I focused on HR and building the team, right? There are ways to do it, and there are ways that are not advised. You have to be intentional. You have to pace yourself. You can't hire 50 people at the same time for 50 different roles. No, it's one by one, because people need to be onboarded. They need to, how do you say it in Nigeria, settle down. They need to settle into the job, learn how it's done, how to work with everybody else, and then they can move forward. Also, it's good to avoid wearing too many hats at the start. You need to learn how to delegate and how to trust people. In Nigeria, it's like everything, the boss needs to do everything. The boss needs to be everywhere. Oh, you're looking for hypertension and early exits, not from the business. Early exit from everything. You need to calm down and learn how to delegate. So that's scaling. Situations. I look at a few different situations that will come to a business. For example, how to set up the leadership group, how to divide different functions across the team, right? This is setting up the C-suites. And I also look at GRC, compliance, what the prior guest was talking about. You need to know which laws are relevant to what you are doing. If you're in food and drink, it's obviously NAFDAC. If you're into fintech, it's obviously CBN and NCC and all those other ones. And if you are into any processing of people's data, then of course you're coming into the Nigerian Privacy Act and being under that regime as well. That's starting, scaling, situations, sailing. This is how to make sure you can move through different types of crosswinds. I look at how you can survive through a pandemic, how you can survive through a natural disaster, how you can survive through personally a layoff, right? How do you pivot? You need to look at your skills. What are you good at? What is available? What's in demand? What's on the market? What can you realistically do with your time, your assets? Do you have the funds to finance it before it starts taking off? All that kind of thing. And then we look at data. I do a deep dive in data. I show you how to assess data, how to understand data, how to manage data using some global best practices, and how to also treat your employees, teach your employees on how to manage data so that they don't get you into trouble. And then, of course, in the last volume, Sustaining, volume 5, it's just how to capitalize on those early gains, how to sustain momentum without burning out, and how to generally have some ideas about recycling, the role of business in society, the role of society in business, and also some tips on leadership. I made it available in 2 sizes. This is the small handheld size, the novella. I say it's like 6 times 9 inches. This is volume 1, Success in Business, your blueprinted inside guide. And then on the large one, which is more textbook size, this is what it looks like. Success in Business, your blueprinted inside guide. They're available on my website, Booksby, which I'll provide for you. Fabian will provide for you in the, is there a chat, right? We'll type it into the chat for you.
Yes.
And then those are 5 volumes. So 5 volumes, 5 large, 5 small. Then we have the Niger situation. As we all know, things that are supposed to work a certain way or be done a certain way don't always act that way when it comes to Niger, are not always permitted to act that way when it comes to Niger. So, this is all fine and good, but the Niger situation requires a few tweaks. This is why I wrote volume 6. Volume 6, the title is Chaos is the Only Way Forwards. There is something in forestry and fire management called the fire break. That when fire is coming, you need to fight it with fire so that you first clear an area that when the fire gets there, it will find no fuel and it will snuff itself out. Okay? There's something called chaos theory. Chaos theory tells you that things may look chaotic, but there's actually some structure inside. There are things that will be self-organizing and there'll be patterns that you recognize, right? So this is why I say chaos is the only way forward. You have to use chaos theory to approach the Niger situation. Self-organizing. If nobody's providing it, you provide it for yourself. Is that not so? Generator, solar, all those kinds of things. That's self-organization, chaos theory, right? Patterns. Low take up in banking, fintech came around, right? telco. You have different telco providers. You have people, coalescing to provide services, right? Look at agents when it comes to real estate. Nobody told them to do that. They organize themselves. And when they need to refer through each other, they're making those calls, right? So there's a lot of self-organization that can go on in a situation that looks chaotic. And you can take advantage of that to build a successful business, right? There's always a niche. There's always something you can find. I think I listed about, was it 25? 25 different side hustles that can grow into a steady business. So politics I recommend for everybody. Available on Amazon, and I made it affordable. I think it's under 10,000. It's a purple book. Just look at for equal the equal sign. If you use my name, you should be able to find it. But yeah, Niger situation needs a little modification when it comes to practical advice. Work fine.
So for that beautiful section, thank you for helping us to explain success in business, because I read and I was proud. I was a good book, and I felt of lawyers should read it because it actually helped me. It actually gave me the motivations I needed in order to move forward not as I'm a lawyer. So before we round up with this beautiful session, what advice would you advise young lawyers in this age and time, not even necessarily young lawyers, maybe lawyers in Nigeria, maybe in UK, in Canada, since you have practiced almost practically everywhere, you have been everywhere with different, and what is the general advice that you feel that every lawyer should know that help them in their career in this modern age and time? Because we know about digital footprint, this is very important. What is the advice that we need to know? So just
Thank you, Fabian. You're doing a great job, by the way. I love the way you're encouraging everybody else to be their best, maintain focus, going in excellent. The standing advice that you'll hear from everyone is to specialize. Find yourself a niche, right? Make yourself good in that niche and become the go-to person for that specialized area. Now, in the Niger situation, that may require you to move out of the saturated or heavily competitive cities like Lagos, because there's business everywhere, right? Look at Aliko Dangote. He was not born in Lagos, was he? His business is from a different part of the country, and there are many others like that. In foreign countries, yes, the same advice holds true. Find a niche, specialize in it, and become the go-to person in that area. Promote. But there are two additional steps. One, you need to find a secondary area as well that is counter-cyclical. What that means is that when one practice is up, the other practice might be down, and vice versa. This way, if your main focus area is down, you'll still have something else, right? Counter-cyclical. Out here, that would be something like corporate and bankruptcy, right? Or if you are into the transactional side, you can do business and then have some legal aid work, which will be steady. That will bring in something steady if the corporate slows down. Then again, you can do maybe real estate, right? And any of the others, whether it's corporate or legal aid work, etc. So that's the second thing. So specialize, in one area, get a counter cyclical second area to balance. And the third, don't be ignorant of this AI thing, okay? Because it is still new, it is still causing complications and consternations, but it is working its way in slowly. I get invitations and emails all the time to come and help teach AI how to be a lawyer. I they're offering a lot of money, but I've resisted them so far because I still feel that there's a role for lawyers in the legal profession. A lot of lawyers are getting in trouble because sending AI to research, do the research, and write the briefs. And AI is hallucinating. It's coming up with facts, cases, and laws that do not exist. And the judges are finding this and they're issuing heavy fines and heavy sanctions because the lawyers are not reading these things before they submit them. And a lot of people are getting into serious trouble and making some serious financial commitments because of their, I won't call it negligence, I'll say laziness. But yeah, watch out for this AI. Use it, leverage it to make what you do better, but don't leave it unsupervised. Even in the case of some websites that will offer you AI promotions, like they say they'll make videos for you, they'll post them on your site. You don't need to worry about this. They'll post 20 times a day. If those messages happen to be negative, you will lose your audience while you are not checking. If those messages happen to use music or other intellectual sites and not get through. So, for example, if an AI video that is long, 10 minutes, is using a song or music that's licensed only for short videos, certain websites will block it, like YouTube, and the message won't get out, and vice versa. So these people promoting all this self-regulating AI, be very, very careful because it can get you into trouble if you rely on it too much. So that's the sum of it. Have a main focal specialization. Have a secondary one that's counter-cyclical, and watch out for AI.
Thank you, thank you so much for that beautiful session. I'm sure a lot of persons are in it. They are only so. Thank you for that beautiful session. We know AI is coming to stay, and then we know the benefits of AI because whether we like it or not, I think you should accept the invitation and teach AI how to become good lawyers so that we'll have at least good things coming out from the AI, and then the fact of some other lawyers using AI and then not going through it. I think that is due diligence. I could call it due diligence, but at the same time, I'll call it laziness, like you have said. Because even if AI is doing the work, you have to go through it. You have to make sure this work are coming out as you should have done it. AI is going to help advance a lawyer. It's not going to help replace a lawyer because a lazy lawyer will always be a lazy lawyer because normally if you're writing with your hand difference. So I don't know what is wrong with my network back and forth considering I'm in Nigeria, but thank you for that beautiful session. And then thank you for showing us your book, Success in Business, your blueprinted insight. And thank you for agreeing to honor this our invitation. I know it is very early over there now, and then I hope a lot of persons learned from it. Thank you so much, Mr. George.
My pleasure, Fabian. It's always a pleasure to help everybody else, give advice, encourage everybody on the right path. I wish everybody the best. Have a great Saturday. Happy Father's Day to those amongst you who have the kids. Fabian, we'll be in touch.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too. So So if you have watched the end of this session, thank you so much for staying to the end of this session. And then we'll meet you on another session. Please go back, feel free to watch the videos and then liaise with me, Lex Parental. If you want to register for a course, reach out to me or reach out to Mr. Felix. And if you have any question or you want to speak to Mr. Kudayo, you can also reach out to me so we'll find a way to communicate with him. He's a very busy person, but at the same time, he's always willing and ready to teach, like he says. So thank you so much and have a beautiful day. Thank you.